So the most controversial film of 2014 that could have nearly caused World War III is finally available for public viewing. Now it's time for me to review it. Anyway, hey there guys, what's up? It's Autobot Mike 18 here with another movie review. Guys, this is going to be one of my last movie reviews of 2014, and it is going to be for the new action comedy, entirely controversial film, The Interview. Almost forgot to hold up the poster. Yeah, guys, shooting this on my webcam. Sorry about that. I just need to get this review, and I have another review coming up for Into the Woods, and I just have to get them done as quick as possible because I'm getting ready to put together my top 10 list of the best films of the year. So in order to avoid shooting on camcorder and tripod and all that, blah, 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 I'm just shooting on webcam, so I'm not going to hold the poster up the entire review, but I'll hold it up periodically. If you feel like looking at Seth Rogen and James Franco's faces like that, I'll hold it up. Just let me know. No, you guys can't, but anyway, The Interview, guys. Man, oh man, this has been the subject in the news for the last couple of weeks, ever since we started receiving threats from the hackers that North Koreans were going to blow up a movie theater if we screen this movie. And of course, as you guys all know, the film was pulled by Sony after several theaters started pulling the release of the film. And eventually, about a week after the movie was pulled officially by Sony, it was revealed that they were releasing the film on Christmas Day, not only online, but in all of the Alamo Drafthouse theaters, or in most of them. And I actually got interviewed by my local news station on the whole matter of The Interview, so that was pretty cool. Even before the movie got pulled, guys, I was definitely looking forward to seeing it, mainly because it's that comedic duo of Seth Rogen and James Franco, which I thought really, really worked in This Is the End, and I was really satisfied with that film. This is also from the team that gave us Neighbors, which was also pretty funny this year. So I was looking forward to seeing The Interview for sure, and of course, when all the controversy came, I definitely couldn't wait to see the film. And now, having seen it, it's time to give you my thoughts. So the first thing I'm going to do, guys, is get into the plot behind the film. And our two leading actors in this film are Mr. Seth Rogen and James Franco. Seth Rogen plays a TV news producer by the name of Aaron Rapoport, and James Franco plays a TV tabloid host. And his name is Dave Skylark. He's the host of the show Skylark Tonight, and they basically have a bunch of celebrity guests and musicians and singers, actors, celebs. All of them come on to the show, and Seth Rogen and James Franco are trying to sort of, well, Seth Rogen especially feels that they've never really done a serious interview. They've only covered, like certain scandals or, things that erupt in Hollywood or whatnot. And he wants to do like a more serious interview. He wants to be taken actually they want to be taken seriously as journalists. So they land an interview with Kim Jong Un, the leader of North Korea, who happens to be a big fan of the show. Which in its own right is funny because they're reading an article on James Franco reads an article on his phone. Kim Jong Un says his two favorite shows are The Big Bang Theory and Skylark Tonight. There you go. So the two of them decide to go to North Korea to do this sort of political interview, and then they feel they'll be taken more seriously. However, they are approached by the CIA, who asks them to, while in North Korea, assassinate Kim Jong Un due to a large, alarming growth of nuclear weapons that North Korea has and could possibly use. And that, my friends, is the plot behind The Interview. So as you can tell, the plot itself is entirely outrageous on its own right. And that, I would say, is the best word to describe The Interview, because just like This Is the End, The Interview is an entirely outrageous, inappropriate, nearly vulgar movie filled with some really funny moments, some moments that I thought could have been a lot more hysterical. It doesn't have all those hysterical, entirely laugh out loud moments like This Is the End had for me. But it does have a few laughs here and there. It is filled with one scene that is just way too overviolent than it needs to be. Kind of like This Is the End. And, that's the interview, guys, in my opinion. And it is highly controversial, and I absolutely see why, after having seen the film, why North Korea was a little upset when they heard that this film was being made. And I don't know if they've seen the movie. I don't know if Kim Jong Un has seen the movie. I doubt he has. But if he does, I think there are going to be some scenes that he's probably not going to be proud of. Because definitely he's painted as a caricature in this, I would say. I mean, I don't know how Kim Jong Un really is, but there are things that his character does in this movie. Very funny, but still things that I don't think he would normally do. So for that reason, yeah, this is a definitely highly controversial film. With two really good performances from the comedic duo of Seth Rogen and James Franco, who, guys, in my opinion, I think they just work so well together. The whole entire cast of This Is the End had really good chemistry with one another, and I really bought into that role, and I definitely buy into this film as much as I did because of the leading chemistry between Seth Rogen and James Franco. They are both, Seth Rogen is the more serious type of guy who is trying to be taken more seriously, and James Franco is a lot more laid back and just like, come on, let's go do this interview. I'm so excited. Let's do this. And Seth Rogen is like, all right, fine, yeah, we'll do it. I definitely want to do it. And then when they're approached by the CIA, forget about it. Seth Rogen's like, all right, we're going to take out the leader of North Korea. We got to do this. James Franco's like, not sure this is such a good idea anymore. So I really like that whole relationship they have, that whole conflict they have going on, how one of them feels it is a good idea to take out Kim Jong Un, the other one is sort of going against it as the film progresses, and then may have a realization. Who knows? But this movie feels like an entirely dumbed-down version of This Is the End, by far. Just, I mean, it has all the certain elements that This Is the End had. You got your celebrity cameos in the movie. You got your absolutely crazy, funny dialogue in the movie. You have that one scene that is just way too overviolent than it absolutely needs to be. You have your pop culture references. You have your references to movies. There's a couple of good references here and there in the beginning, these pop culture references. It is entirely inappropriate, absolutely outrageous, and something that This Is the End really wasn't, very controversial. And it's because of this whole thing with Kim Jong Un and North Korea. And the fact that we were almost censored, guys, but we stood our ground against the North Koreans, and now we got to see the interview. Yes, we did. But, apart from all those things that the interview is outrageous, inappropriate, very, very vulgar at moments, overly violent in one scene, filled with these pop culture references, movie references, the references to celebrities, all the humor and all of that. This film is pretty entertaining. It's one of those movies you can't help but just, you can't take your eyes off the screen as you're watching it. You can't wait to see how things are going to unfold. You can't help but just crack a little smile as certain things unfold, as James Franco does certain things. Because James Franco is golden in this movie by far. Another thing I like that this movie touched upon, it touched upon the media in an interesting way that another film earlier this year did pretty well. Gone Girl did that pretty well, if you ask me. Touched upon the media and how the media overblows things out of proportion. This movie focuses less on like realistic events and focuses more on like celebrities and all that, but it shows that any media outlet will just be dying to have any sort of breaking news. There is one opening scene early on in this movie with a very famous rapper. I'm not going to spoil it. It is a pretty hilarious moment, but that whole scene is a perfect demonstration of how news outlets are nowadays, and I really like that aspect that they touched upon in the film. I thought that was pretty interesting. So, apart from all that said, guys, I would like to just quickly get into the cast. Again, as I've been saying this whole entire review, James Franco, Seth Rogen, absolutely perfect comedic duo right there. They have great, amazing chemistry with one another. They play so well against each other. One throws a joke at the other. The other one takes it. The other one throws another joke. I mean, the back and forth that the two of them have is amazing. Absolutely two awesome performances. That is the word to describe their performances. An awesome comedic duo that I still am going to look forward to seeing movies from the two of them. I still will in the future, guys. I think that they have a lot of potential as comedic actors. I mean, James Franco has definitely come a long way, and he has definitely a wide range of movies, ranging from the Spider-Man movies early on, and then, serious movies like 127 Hours, then going straight to films like This Is the End and The Interview. I mean, I think that's pretty impressive. And Seth Rogen, too, has honestly improved over the years. He's gone from the actor who was just, like, in Superbad to the guy who is the director, along with Evan Goldberg, of the most controversial film of the year, and he's also starring in it. So I think that's pretty interesting. And I think Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg are a good directing duo as well, apart from the James Franco-Seth Rogen duo. Also in the cast, we have Lizzie Kaplan from that show Masters of Sex, plays the head CIA agent in the film. She was pretty good. And the guy who played Kim Jong Un, I have definitely got to hand it to him. Randall Park was really good in the movie. I got to give it to him for not only does he look like Kim Jong Un, but he just completely plays this absolute caricature of Kim Jong Un, and it definitely paid off. It was pretty funny, actually. Some of the scenes he has with James Franco are rather funny. But getting into my rating for The Interview, guys, I think this is a film that definitely could have been a little bit more funnier than it was. I think there are some moments that needed that more like an oomph, Like, there are some jokes, there are some lines in this movie that just cracked a smile on my face. Nothing in this movie made me burst out laughing in hysterics at how some funny things were. There are some outrageous moments that put a smile on my face. There are some moments that I don't think needed to even be in the movie. Some things that are just way too over the top and don't even need to really be there. But for all those reasons, and for a lot of other reasons that I enjoyed this film, I'm going to give The Interview a solid grade of an 8.5 out of 10, or a grade of a B. I think this is a film you should definitely see if you're a fan of comedies. I think if you loved This Is the End and you like the duo of Seth Rogen and James Franco, I definitely recommend you guys check out this movie. It's definitely worth the price of watching this film online. You can watch it on YouTube. You can watch it on Google Play, I believe. There's even the interview.com. You could watch it somehow on there. And then I don't know if the Alamo Drafthouse Theaters are still showing the movie. They might be. I don't know. I actually watched this online, so yeah, but The Interview, again, guys, it's entirely offensive, highly controversial, quite half hysterical comedy that just missed it for me. Just missed it. I nearly went B+, but looking back on the film, the main goal of a comedy, it has to get me to laugh. And if a comedy can get me to gut-bustingly laugh, then it's done its job. This film didn't entirely do that, which is why I can't go all the way for The Interview. Nevertheless, the things really working for this movie, the cast really worked pretty damn well, especially, again, as I've been saying, Seth Rogen and James Franco. I cannot wait to see what they're going to do next, because they are a great comedic duo that really worked for me in this movie. In my opinion, the script is smart and funny. The pop culture references that are in the script are very good. They're funny. The whole entire first half of the movie was actually pretty entertaining and very hilarious, with the two of them as this news team. I thought that really worked. And having all these celebrity guests and everything, I thought that was actually pretty cool. The script was really smart. It was funny. It was over the top in moments, and there are moments where I feel it was suited to be over the top. Then there are moments that it didn't need to go over the top like it did, and I'll get into that. I thought the film was really well directed and definitely well shot as well. And I like how they turned most of Vancouver, which is where they shot most of this movie, into North Korea. That was pretty cool. So I got to give them props for doing that as well, because Vancouver is almost unrecognizable in this movie. I really like that. So getting into the flaws I had with this movie, again, my biggest complaint is probably that there were some funny moments in the movie that just got a smile from me. Didn't get me to gut-bustingly laugh. And I think, I don't know, had they just worked on a joke here and there, or just took a joke a step further, or some of the jokes that just cracked a smile for me, then I think I would have just been laughing in nearly every single scene, and this would have been a much better comedy. I also felt they didn't spend a whole lot of time in New York, which is where the first half of the film, the first 30 minutes of the film takes place. Because I like that whole thing with the interviewing celebrities. I thought that was pretty funny, actually, and works for some pretty funny scenes. I would say another one of my bigger complaints, there is an entirely unnecessarily violent scene in this film that just came out of left field, man. It's just entirely unexpected. And while I feel the entire scene, and this is the end with the guy's head and they're kicking it around, all that blood, well, I thought that actually really worked and that was funny. This entirely unnecessary violent moment just didn't work, and if they were going for laughs with it, they failed on all ends with this one scene alone I'm talking about. Not the movie, though, just one scene alone, because it just wasn't funny. It just didn't work. It was just out of place, and I don't know, it didn't do it for me, and it's just, if you want to have violence in your movie, that's great, make it funny. It wasn't that funny. So yeah, and another thing, Sony, stop spoiling all the best moments in the trailers. They did the same thing for the Amazing Spider-Man 2. They did it with the interview. I would say that's another reason why I didn't laugh as hard as I did. Most of the funniest moments of this movie are spoiled right in the trailers. Thanks, Sony. Yeah, the whole thing with Rob Lowe, had I not seen that in the trailer, I would have been laughing my ass off in this while I was watching the movie. But anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on the interview. 8.5 out of 10, or B. I definitely recommend you check it out because this is such a highly controversial film, and it is really offensive in moments, and it does have those moments, and because they had the balls to get this movie made and they actually released it, I'm giving them props for that. That's for that reason I definitely recommend you check out the interview. Grade of a B for me. Guys, if you've seen the interview, let me know what you thought of it down below in the comments. I'd really appreciate to know what your guys' opinions are of the film as well. And thanks so much for watching my review, guys. I really appreciate it. I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.